This video is going to detail a loop hike that I did in Jones Gap State Park. It's going to cover several trails and it's going to give you a good introduction to the mountain bridge and Jones Gap State Park. When you get to the park, go ahead and start at the trailhead where it says Jones Gap Trail, just like we show in the picture here. You're also going to see this bridge. It's new. It got knocked down during Hurricane Helene, but you'll know you're in the right spot, right there at the visitor center.
Okay, I'm going to take you up the hill so you can see the damage. The landslides like they had in North Carolina, they had one here in Jones Gap. So here's where it all sunk in, right, as the water passed through this area. Then you work your way back. And all this has been cleared out. I don't know what it looked like right afterwards, but look at that. It's like the water chose a path in a little cut at the top of the mountain and poured all down here. And now the Middle Saluda has all these islands and just big piles of trees everywhere. And it carved one of those perfectly cut channels down the side of the mountain. Here's an example of water running downhill, and then instead of going straight over, it goes down the path until finally it finds the path of least resistance and goes back downhill. Just a little section of the Middle Saluda. Down below is the Rainbow Falls Trail. I'm up on the Jones Gap Trail. This is an example of the draw that would be dried up. So water normally runs through there, you can tell. There's even some mud here, all the way down across the trail. This is compared to the other one I videoed earlier that was running with water. So it just depends on what time you walk by this area. So what I'm doing is I'm walking Jones Gap Trail, then I'm gonna go down Silver Steps Trail, then I'm gonna go to Tom Miller, then to Cold Spring Branch Connector, which is all a big loop back to my campsite. I'm camping at Site 9. Okay, so as you're going down Jones Gap Trail, you're gonna hit this metal bridge. This is gonna take you to the other side of the Middle Saluda, and it's at this point that you know you're getting closer to Jones Gap Falls, but just be aware you're still on Jones Gap Trail, you're just crossing to the other side of the river. And it looks like this bridge survived the hurricane pretty much unscathed. So I'm at Site 9 and here's Site 10. This is just after the bridge, just a big open area where you can camp. Site 11 is nearby too. Pretty good riverside spots. If you're going to do this one though, don't plan on going back to your truck for supplies or whatever. Just, you know, you go in, you got what's on your back. Because if you're walking back to the park to get anything else, you know, it's a couple miles commitment. So I don't know if I've covered this in other videos, but when you see two blazes like that separated, that means there's a turn coming up, something you need to pay attention to. Also, there's a little sign there for the Palmetto Trail. It kind of hijacks other trails in the area, but they're trying to connect one that crosses all of South Carolina, Palmetto Trail. Anyway, here's your turn. It's like a 90-degree turn. There's even this sign here to keep people like me from just going straight into the woods. Okay, so here's the turn to Jones Gap Falls. You can see it from here. I'll get you a better video, but again, blue blazes. Jones Gap Trail continues. Now, I didn't want to video Site 11 because I just passed it. But if you just go back down the trail just a little ways, 11 is right there near this turn to Jones Gap Falls. I don't know whether that makes this the best campsite in the park or not, but it's secluded, but a lot of people are coming here to see this waterfall, so you can decide. All right, I'm going vertical on this one because it's a waterfall. This is bigger than I remember, for sure. Still, normal sized waterfall, but it's got a nice pool at the bottom, and it drifts on down further down the hill. Very pretty, very short side trail, which I appreciate. So here's a nice cliff face. Pretty, right? See the different layers. That one's split right in the middle. But you can see some over here. They're either cracks or they're layers. Right? Here's a theological thought. Because my other channel is all Bible teaching. Show thyself approved. People say that this took, of course, millions and millions and millions of years to happen, but in the Garden of Eden, God created Adam and Eve fully formed. They could talk, they could walk, they could garden, whatever they did in the Garden of Eden. And so why couldn't God create a perfectly formed world that to our eyes, scientific eyes, looked like it took millions and millions of years to form? If God can create a planet fully formed, stars fully formed, a universe fully formed, why couldn't he do it with rock layers? Just a thought. If you can get to it, it's past Jones Gap Falls, headed towards the Cold Spring Branch Connector. Pretty neat. Nice slide. I'm too old to slide, but you can dip your toes in here. Okay, they've got this sign here. And it warns you that there's no shuttle service. All right, so Cold Spring Branch Connector heads off down this way. We're going to be coming back up from that way because I'm doing a loop. I'm continuing on Jones Gap Trail. Here's a pretty prominent feature. Bridge. Downstream. Man, I had no idea I was going to get to the top of a landslide. This is like the one that is at the base there in Jones Gap at the park. But this here, I'm going to try to back up a bit. This is the top of one of those Helene landslides. It looks like a lot of the stuff got washed away because there's not a whole bunch at the bottom. But I bet it's clogging up other parts of the creek, whatever that is down there. I don't think that's the Middle Saluda, but it could be. Actually, I think it is. And that would explain why the water levels were so off at the park itself, because that's all downstream. And it didn't look like I remembered it. So this is like the third landslide I've seen on this trail. And I didn't even film the second one. That means that this was a pretty catastrophic event for this area. Okay, here's Silver Steps, the beginning of it anyway. Of course, I came from Jones Gap. Silver Steps is that way. This is a pretty little spot up above Silver Step Falls. Bridge. I'll go on top of it to show you. Carefully, I might add. And there it goes. Okay. You are here at the connection with Silver Steps Trail. I could keep going that way and connect with the parking lot I've been to, but I just don't have it in me. I'm going to keep going down Silver Steps, and then I'm going to hit Tom Miller, and then Cold Spring Connector. So 9 down to 2, connecting with 3 there, not 5, 3. 5's closed, apparently. Okay, White Blazes. This is Silver Steps Trail. After that initial uphill burst, it's pretty much a nice level path that runs you alongside the road. 276 is out that way. You can maybe hear the car. Anyway, I'm about to hit the parking lot.
When you get to this new gravel parking lot, just look at the end of the lot and you'll see another sign, and there you can pick the Blazes back up for Tom Miller Trail.
So this is one of the parking lots. big. Don't remember this. Never been here. Now, you look right there, number 2 says you are here. That's the parking area. There's apparently another parking area further down 276. But I'm about to hit Tom Miller, which will link me to that parking lot, which will take me to Cold Spring Branch. So I'm getting ready to start Tom Miller, and you can tell it's another blue blaze. Now this is the parking area I'm familiar with, where you go to Ravenscliff Falls, but I'm not going there. I'm going back to Jones Gap. So that upper parking lot must have been a new addition, plus it looks brand new. So Cold Spring Branch Trail has orange blazes, and it definitely departs from 276, so you can tell that you are heading back towards Jones Gap from this point. Okay, so right back up there was maybe you can see those vehicles up ahead. That's where Bill Kimball intersects, and it's closed, of course. So I am going to continue on down here, orange blazes, Cold Spring Branch. One thing I will say about these MREs is they've gotten a lot better over time. Now, I don't know if you can ever beat the original OG Chili Mac, but this is some kind of sausage patty. So you're going to have several water crossings moving down Cold Spring Branch Trail. Here's a pretty big one as you get back toward the Middle Saluda. Look down. Sometimes there's blazes on rocks at your feet. So what causes a rock to form like this? It looks like that was the base, and at some point it tipped over. Maybe an earthquake? I don't know. Very cool though. This is just a few steps off the trail. I don't think it's a named waterfall, but it is a really unique configuration there with the rocks. It basically clamps together, and the water can only go through a couple different ways. But there's a nice pool at the bottom, and I wish I could stay longer, but I can't. This block looks so out of place. It's white, and everything else around it's brown, green. And then I look up, way up there's a little landslide that came down. Maybe that sucker came from up there and bounced all the way down here, and it hasn't had time to age as far as the algae and things like that growing on all the other rocks. I don't know. This looks like the beginning of a nice slide here. Of course, our trail rocks are blocking it, but then it just keeps going and over the edge. This is what happens after the slide ends. It just comes over this ledge into a pool. That's a good looking sign. 0.2 miles to Jones Gap Trail. It's also where Bill Kimball intersects with Cold Spring Connector, but it's closed just like the other end was closed. So another bridge that we encountered, much like the one we encountered earlier, is on Cold Spring Branch. Not the same one though. Okay, back to the sign that warns you that there's no pickup at Caesar's Head. So I finished my loop portion. Now I'm just backtracking down Jones Gap Trail to my campsite. So I got here back to camp about 5 o'clock on the nose, and that was 7 hours on the trail. And I didn't really stop for any long period of time. I did stop a few times to purify water and other things, but I am getting blown up. So if you're going to come out here and hike at Jones Gap, make sure you know that the trails are strenuous.